Live from the heart of Lincoln, America. Welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hello, and welcome into the Daily Nebraskan show. We're going to be a post-game show today, as regular Ticket crew didn't do post-game shows, so we got you guys covered. We're going to be covering mostly the Nebraska men's basketball game.
Yes, sir.
They just played Ohio State, so we're going to give you our thoughts on that. Yeah, big win for Nebraska. Handled Ohio State pretty easily. But again, this is the Daily Nebraskan show. I'm Ben Droz, one of the sports writers at the Daily Nebraskan, and I'm joined here by the senior sports editor at the Daily Nebraskan, Joseph Meyer. Joseph, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. That was a fun game. I wasn't expecting kind of an early tip on a Tuesday night.
Mm-hmm.
Crowd, I'm not going to lie, crowd was not great at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
People were flowing in, as the national anthem rolled on. People are still finding their seats when the game started. But it really turned out to be a fun one.
Yeah.
And for a variety of reasons. But Greg Mast going off was quite the surprise. He's struggled as of late.
Yeah, last couple games.
And comes out 6 of 8 from 3.
Yep.
Masterclass.
Love to see it.
So Mastanaga. Tomi Naga.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't Tominaga.
No. He was, Tominaga
That was the Flying Dutchman.
He looked a little bit taller today. It was a little bit weird.
Yeah. As I alluded to in my game story, go check it out if you haven't. Ben did takeaways for us tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Go check out those 2 stories if you haven't already. But no, he did not grow 8 inches and add 60 pounds last night.
Mm-mm. I saw your tweet. I liked it.
I appreciate it. Thank you. But it was a fun environment. Crowd got into it late. And we'll kind of talk about how the game progressed. Was not pretty early.
Mm-mm.
And it was looking like one of those nights. They start 2 of 8 from 3. Then they start 3 of 13 from 3. And I'm thinking it's going to be one of those nights where they just get outclassed from behind the arc. Can't find the bottom of the net. And we've talked about before how much this team lives and dies on the 3-point shot.
Mm-hmm.
And something flipped, which we'll dive into later. How was your viewing experience on the Peacock stream?
Yeah, man, it's a good thing I'm just not canceling that. It was the football game earlier, then it was the Purdue game, then my Dolphins played on Peacock. Wish I wouldn't have watched that game, but I did. And then now we got this game. So I mean, out of all of those, only two of them, were wins for my team. Because what was the football game that was on Peacock? I don't even remember.
Wisconsin.
So we lost.
Yes. I did not watch that game on Peacock. I got to watch that game in person.
Yeah.
But today was a better result. So maybe
I think I was live at that game, so I didn't even watch it.
Maybe my Peacock luck is turning around here. We could talk about that later, but
yeah, it was good.
It feels kind of cool when Peacock's there. It feels more official.
Well, yeah,
also
kind of
at
like
the same time,
they're kind of like the main headline on Peacock.
No, for
That's
sure.
Cool. Yeah.
But then at the same time, if I wasn't at the arena, I don't think I would like it. Although they do have the student discount, which is huge for us because we have to cover a lot of games.
Yes.
On there. So inside the arena, though, it was fun. Star-studded night.
Mm-hmm.
The volleyball team showed up. Only the returners. So no previous players that I saw. It's kind of hard to tell from where we were.
Away. Yeah.
But to me, it looked like just returners showed up. No new players. So they were honoring last season, threw shirts to the crowd, whatever. So John Cook, Jalen Reyes are there. And then Dylan Raiola was also there.
Yeah.
And he was originally in the crowd, comes down, sits between John Cook and Jalen Reyes.
Really? Yeah.
And they were chatting for a good hour or so.
Wow.
I get the whole, we're going to teach, this is our historic volleyball coach.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting honored tonight. You're in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
But this looked to me like something where he wanted to talk. They were having deep conversation. I was having a hard time. I mean, it was pretty hard not to look away from the basketball that was going on.
Oh yeah.
But I kept catching my eye over there. So maybe I'm, not a good reporter for watching that instead of the basketball, but
no,
just so fascinating.
News. That's news though.
So fascinating.
Yeah.
There is a picture that I saw of them too. And, Husker legend and hopefully a soon-to-be Husker legend.
Future Husker legend, hopefully.
But yeah, let's get back to the basketball. Hoiberg was in a suit. It's rare.
He's all dressed up.
It was the sneakers and suits game.
Yeah.
I just find it funny that Hoiberg's pants, like you could tell he hates wearing suits because his pants are not tailored right. They're too long and they're just flowy.
See, I'm a speech kid, so that's also funny to me because I wear a lot of suits.
He just looks like a kid at a middle school dance wearing a suit that's not tailored correctly.
So true.
And I don't think he cares one bit.
No.
In other pants news, CJ Wilcher had some purple pants on in the post game.
Really?
And so he came into the press conference room. First thing he says, check out the pants. Or I think Matt. So it was Mast and Wilcher who talked. I think Mast goes like quickly, check out the pants. CJ's like, yeah, check out these pants are awesome. I wear them all the time. Just good vibes all around from Nebraska basketball tonight.
Yeah, I mean, the vibes definitely are good, when we're playing at home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially because of the crowd. The crowd. What my favorite part about this game, I wasn't at the game, but I could tell when I was watching it live that the crowd was just wanting Moss to keep getting the ball. They were wanting him to keep shooting it. They were going to be mad if anybody else took.
There was an audible gasp every time you heard the ball touch his hands. Like it was the Tominaga effect of like, please shoot it. We want to go wild.
Yeah. Yes.
Which is so weird coming from your center.
Oh yeah. I mean, how many teams can say they have a center that rouse up a crowd with his 3-point shooting like that?
I mentioned that in my gamer story.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, how do you defend that as an opposing coach?
Yeah, we're touching on specifics about that. I mean, I don't credit Ohio's defense. I feel like Ohio State's defense was really bad tonight because I feel like how Moss was getting open was just really simple. He was literally just pick and pop it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. It's not like,
said it after the game. He just said, "Yeah, it's just simple ball screens. Just get him the ball."
I mean, yeah, he'd set a screen, popped to the 3-point line. He was wide open. Their post kept sagging on him. I don't know why he was doing that. You think after 2-3 made threes, you'd be like, "Hey, scooch up a little bit." But I'm not the head coach, and I was okay with the result. So
it was fun to watch.
Oh yeah,
and the student section being back was huge.
Yes. First time.
We have not had a student section, I believe, since December 16th.
That's crazy. That's such a long time.
A month. Now, I enjoyed the long break from school.
Same.
But it is unfortunate. That's one of my least favorite parts about from the student angle.
Especially the Purdue game.
Yes. Like these awesome games. Like Indiana, you break that win streak against Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
You break the win streak against Northwestern. You break the win streak against Purdue.
You beat the best team in the country.
There were students there, but there's no student section. And you could feel the energy that they brought today, just overall, and it was nice to have back.
Yeah, I mean, PBA is definitely not as rocking. I feel like when there's not a student section. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's still really good environment and everything, but I mean, the student section definitely adds a different element to it.
Having it right there behind the bench is just such a good choice.
Yes,
it's just unfortunate during the winter months when we're not here.
I mean, I couldn't even imagine like the volleyball games without the student section.
Yeah,
I mean, I just couldn't.
No.
I mean, the student section is like the best part of when I'm watching the volleyball game. I'm just like, what's the student section doing?
Right. There were some. I couldn't really make it out. I was trying to text some friends who were in the student section. They were chanting one of the guys' last names over and over. He went 0 for 3 on on free throws one time, and the student section just went nuts.
That's funny.
How do you go 0 for 3 from the line?
I mean, I would probably go 0 for 3, but I'm not a basketball player.
You're not a Division I basketball player that is hoping to make. They were chanting NIT at one point to Ohio State when it got to like a 16-point lead.
That's so good.
So it was much missed, and you could tell they brought the energy.
Yes.
Not an unexpected result whatsoever.
Not at all.
Because of that home environment. I'm just excited to see how they can take this on the road. And we said this last time after the Purdue game. We'll see if it actually happens. The downside this time, though, they have Maryland this week. Bang, bang. Wisconsin, Illinois.
Yeah.
Both ranked teams.
It's going to be tough.
So it was.
And then Northwestern. Not on the road. That's also another really tough game.
So big win tonight. Fun game. I think we can dive into some more specifics now.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I said, masked 6 of 8 from 3, career high for 6. Most 3-pointers by any Nebraska player since 2021.
Wow, that's crazy.
Kobe Webster, I believe it was. And that was during the COVID season.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised that Tominaga hadn't done that.
I know, same. That surprises me.
But also, I think a lot of times his points come from the, those baseline drives.
Yeah, he does a good job of back cut screen.
So Mass 6 of 8 from 3, 13 of 17 overall, 34 points, 10 rebounds. Finally got that 10th rebound at the end of the game with a minute left.
Yep.
That one was fun because they checked him. He checked out and he checked right back in.
He had to get the triple-double. Not triple-double, double-double. Yeah, double-double.
And so the crowd, got standing ovation for that. Standing ovation for when he checked out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, he's just a energetic character, and I love it. In the post game, he's just all smiles, talking about all the hard work he's put in.
Ear to ear.
And there was a point where he was talking about kind of how he's feeling. And he said, I'm not really feeling that much better, but the results from some of the tests they were doing on that knee are getting better. And he said, I think that's a good thing. And you kind of forget this guy had knee surgery a month ago.
It definitely felt like it was showing, especially in the Rutgers game. He just didn't look like himself.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely seemed, and now, they play on Saturday, so that they have a little bit of a break here, a couple days. So hopefully, he gets even healthier. And I'm not expecting, a performance like this every single night. Be awesome. But I'm not expecting a performance like this every night. But yeah, definitely good to see Moss kind of returning, looking like himself.
Yeah, he even said this. He said, sometimes you have those days where the rim just looks like an ocean, whatever you throw up goes in. Yeah.
And what was my favorite thing is, so when I was watching the final minutes on Peacock, when they brought Moss, they interviewed him, and one of the first thing he said, he's like, man, I was so mad when I missed the one jumper in the corner. I was like, bro, nobody cares that you missed that jumper. Come on, you had 34 points. I just thought it was funny that was kind of one of the first things that popped in his head. He's like, yeah, he was happy, but he's like, man, I wish I could have got that one. Because he's like, when you're hitting them, you can't miss. You got to just keep going.
Yeah. It's so refreshing for him to come off 2 outings. He shot a combined 6 of 23 from the field against Rutgers and against Northwestern.
Yeah, not very good. And 0 for 4 from the 3-point line, I believe.
I believe so.
And now he went 6 for 8.
Which just shows you the depth that this team has.
Yeah.
It shows you the resilience. Gary's still not 100%. Hoiberg, he tested himself pregame. Ultimately just didn't go. Don't have him. Tominaga has an off night. Couldn't get anything going. He had 1 3.
Yeah.
And yet it didn't feel like there was much missing.
No.
We'll touch on, some guys that came off the bench a little bit later as well, but getting that spark off the bench, which they've talked about so much.
That's been CJ Wilcher.
It's been CJ. It's been Sam Hoiberg.
Not as much this game.
Not as much this game. And Eli Rice gave good minutes tonight.
Mm-hmm. I've been impressed with him.
Yeah, he's a guy that is, sticks around here in Lincoln. He's definitely got a future.
Mm-hmm.
But on a night where, you get really not much from Tominaga and nothing from Gary because he's on the bench, you get 34 from your center.
From Moss. And then Wilcher had a really good game from deep. He had 16 points. He was 4 of 7 from the 3-point line. That's just Wilcher's. I'm just going to say this every time. I remember last year not being pleased with how he was playing. I have not had a single bad thing to say about Wilcher this year.
He's really developed.
He's been so comfortable in his role. And comfortable is the first word that always comes to my mind, because he just looks like he's playing. He's having fun out there. He doesn't look like he's trying to force anything. The one game against Rutgers, when they were face guarding him, I think he got a little bit frustrated. He was kind of forcing some shots, but outside of that game, he's just been really good, in my opinion.
I think it was something we don't talk about. We definitely don't talk about Bryce Williams enough, but I think the addition of him really has eased off some of these guys where they don't have to be, some of these guards, they just don't have to be the guy as much when Tominaga is not playing well. I think it's helped out a lot.
Bryce is kind of our best guy, best downhill, being able to get to the bucket guy, in my opinion. Nebraska's trying to make Casey do that. Casey, my bad. I don't think Casey is. I don't think that's really his game. He can do it, But a lot of times he does, he's a little bit shorter, not as athletic. So he has to do a lot of, fadeaway jumpers and stuff. And
There's
some
a
that are
couple
really
mid. I mean, he's pretty solid in the mid range.
yeah, he's really good. But I'm just
Those
saying,
cut to the baskets, but definitely not driving.
Bryce Williams is our best guy to be able to get downhill, get to the rim. Josiah Alec kind of flashed it a little bit against Northwestern, which was really pleasing to see. But yeah, I've really been pleased with Bryce Williams. At the beginning of the year, it was like when we didn't have Sam Griesel from, he wasn't coming back to Nebraska. It'd be like, who's going to be our point guard? Bryce Williams has really kind of stepped into that role.
He's just a guy that it's not the most flashy, but you can feel his impact in a game like this where he's got 7 rebounds and you didn't really even notice him. He, 5 of 9 from the field, 2 of 4 from deep.
He's been good from behind the arc.
And what are you going to do when you've got Mast and Wilcher, who you can't let them get a shot off? You got to have a hand in their face every single time they shoot the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And then you ultimately just leave Williams open a couple times for some nice shots. There were a couple specific times in this game that everything went right. I want to talk quickly about the early down. They were down by 9 early.
Yeah.
Tied up 13-13, and then the Buckeyes go on this 9-0 run where Nebraska couldn't buy a shot.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State wasn't missing. Bruce Thornton, the sophomore guard from Ohio State, had an incredible night. He was the difference maker 100% for the Buckeyes on the floor. He was facilitating the offense to perfection, giving Nebraska fits. He had 7 points and 2 assists before he even checked out for the first time.
Yeah.
And was a big part of that little run they had to go up 9. I believe it was 22-13.
Yeah.
He checks out after making a couple free throws. But when he comes back in, while he was out, that was the Wilcher run where he had 7 points over like a 3-minute stretch to get it back to within 1. So it's 23-22 by the time he checks back in. And at that point, Nebraska had kind of, regained all the momentum.
Mm-hmm.
Then Thornton at the beginning of the second half, Nebraska had built that lead going into the final few minutes. You get that buzzer beater from Williams at the end of the first half. Again, all momentum in the direction of Nebraska. Thornton comes out. This is honestly a kind of a crazy stat line. Let me find it here quickly. But in the first 2 minutes, 2 minutes and like 30 seconds, 3 points, 2 steals, an assist, and a rebound.
Wow.
So he was doing it all for them, not getting much help. He finished 5 of 9, 2 of 4 from deep with 16 points, 6 assists, 2 steals. And so when he wasn't on the floor, you could tell. So those 2 runs, that 9-0 run that he really helped facilitate, that run at the end of the start of the second half, both were facilitated by him. I thought they did a good job of keeping Jamison Battle at bay tonight.
Yeah.
That's
definitely
a guy that we've seen him score 20 points against Nebraska before while at Minnesota.
It's all engraved in our brains.
5 points in the first half. He had a couple nice shots in the second half. Ended up going 3 for 4 from 3, but didn't feel the same impact that maybe I was expecting from him on a night like tonight.
Yeah.
And then a couple of his threes were just, nice shot fake, step back. But other than that, it just felt like overall as a team, Ohio State was just kept at bay.
Yeah.
Really never got to go on any runs after that 9-0 run. And Nebraska took the lead shortly after on mass back-to-back threes.
He's never looked back.
And they never trailed again.
Yeah. I mean, Ohio State, like almost all the Big Ten teams so far this year, has struggled on the road. Nebraska has been super dominant at home. I wasn't surprised by the result at all. We're going to have to go to break pretty soon, but I want to ask one question. I want to see if you can get it. Who do you think were the top? I don't know if you've looked at it, but who do you think were the top 3 plus-minus guys for us? If you were to guess. One is really easy.
I mean, must.
Yes.
I want to say Wilcher and...
You're 2 for 2 right now. Who do you think is the last person? top plus minus?
I'll go Williams.
Sam Hoiberg.
That was my fourth option.
I was so surprised when I looked at it. Sam Hoiberg is plus 23.
He's just a spark, dude.
I mean, he only had 1 point in the game.
And
one free throw.
It's the defense, 100%.
Yeah,
that guy
that's what
brings
it is.
so much energy on the defensive end. And I know plus minus is not a stat you want to look at just directly.
I get it, yeah. But still, it caught my eye.
100%.
It caught my eye. I mean, Hoiberg has been, when you first think of him, you don't think of him as, defensive first. You think of him, he's a good 3-point shooter for us, ball handler. But he's been really good on defense all year this year.
Yeah. Had 2 steals again tonight.
Yeah. He's just kind of a bulldog for us.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to take it a break. When we come back, talk a little bit more men's basketball. Kind of want to touch on Brock Purdy transferring. Didn't get to touch on that. I said Brock Purdy. Chubba Purdy. My bad. Brock Purdy plays for the 49ers.
I didn't know he's coming back.
I wish. Yeah, so we're going to touch on that and more. Make sure if you want to text in your thoughts, the text line is open, 402-464-5685. We'll be right back right after this break.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
So he can maybe run a little
So like
bit.
speed option, those things. All you want to do.
Speed. I can't see him.
It's also. Oh,
Uh-oh.
look what you did. Look what you did. Look at Bill.
Down.
Come on
Just
now.
calm down.
I don't say anything about semicolons or should there be a
Word usage?
parentheses or
Too many commas over there.
too many
Zip. Come on.
run-on sentences. Don't talk about that. It's not my wheelhouse.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
There's no better way to spark a child's imagination than to get lost in the adventure of a good book. I'm Jenny Benson, president of NSEA. Working together, parents and teachers can help every child succeed. You can help by reading to your child and let your child read to you. Encourage reading in your home and make it a priority. Make reading fun and a time that you and your child look forward to spending together.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and the station.
Serve Nebraska believes that volunteers are part of what makes Nebraska great. Each year, the Step Forward Awards honors volunteers from across the state who serve their communities in outstanding ways. We hope you'll join us this year at the Step Forward Awards luncheon on October 27th in Omaha. Help us thank volunteers with a celebration to remember. To register, visit serve.nebraska.gov and click Register Now. We hope to see you there. Paid for by Serve Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
Mario fue pintor más de 30 años. Cuando me dijo que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil. Un día me dijeron que pintara el marco del lado por dentro y pinté el lado de afuera.
Yo le diría a la gente que le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él.
Si algo se nota diferente, podría ser Alzheimer. Es momento de hablarlo. Visita alz.org/nuestras historias para saber más. Un mensaje de the Alzheimer's Association y the Ad Council.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force, and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is, my job is people, everyone is my business. but unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jackamick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hello, and welcome back into the Daily Nebraskan show. We're back.
Sir.
So we kind of want to still touch on more of the game because we kind of just recap the game a little bit. I'm going to do takeaways from the game, but we'll first kind of wrap up our thoughts from the game. Second half was just as dominant for Moss as the second, it felt like. Every time he got the ball, you just knew he was going to get it in.
Hoiberg talked about a little after the game, just how they started to build up a scheme of what they wanted to do, some packages to get him the ball. I thought that was great in-game management from Hoiberg.
Yeah.
And great in-game adjustment from the team. Because that that's not what they're planning on. Because of the way that he's played the last couple weeks or the last couple games, they were not planning on him going off like that. And so that's clearly not in their second half adjustment package. And so that was really quick of like, hey, we're going to start getting him on these, simple ball screens, get him up top at the top of the key.
Yeah. It was really simple stuff, honestly.
And give him a chance. As I was walking over here from the game, we got out, about an hour before the show, just walking over here through the beautiful Lincoln O Street weather.
Oh, yes.
And that is still somehow not cleared on the sidewalks, but that's a story.
It's almost flooded, in some spots.
It was just like, you felt like he was going to hit another three at any moment.
Yep.
I felt like I was going to turn around and
you couldn't take your eyes off.
There was going to be thousands of people putting, threes up in the air.
Yeah.
We were just laughing up at the honestly, we were laughing at press row, like, no way he's going to do it again. And there was a point where, I forget what time this was. Let's see here. I have it in my notes, but it was, so 14:42 remaining in the game. Wilcher pushes the lead back to 9 with back-to-back corner three-pointers, which he had.
Go Wilcher.
Like we said, another great performance.
He's been solid.
But from there on out, it was all masked.
Yeah.
100% masked.
Nebraska fans are going to riot if he didn't get the ball every time.
And it was good to see. It was kind of funny because I was watching the Timberwolves Hornets game last night, and similar, Karl Anthony Towns was going off.
Oh, yeah. He scored 60.
I forget what his final stat line was, but he had like 8 threes.
I think he scored 60.
Insane, right? Yeah. But they started to force it a little bit, and it ended up costing them the game. So, in the back of my mind is like, I just saw this happen last night.
Yeah.
Very similar, like big man going off from 3, teams trying to get him the ball as much as he could. And then, so there was this play where he snagged an offensive rebound, put up a second chance opportunity, crowd's going wild, right? His next 3 shots, he took every single Nebraska shot, he took the next 3 of them. All of them became behind the arc. And he hit all 3.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That third one, I couldn't even I was trying to type and organize my thoughts. Yeah. Game's coming to a close, trying to get the game story in as soon as possible, have something to go right so I can just, get the quotes in there, depending on what they talk about after the game. I couldn't type.
Oh, yeah. It was so electric.
I just had to I didn't want to look down again because I felt like I was going to miss it. It was fun.
Yeah, it was such a good game. Even if it was kind of what it was expected, nobody expected Moss to play like that. I mean, I was kind of dogging on Moss after the Rutgers game because I feel like he was most to blame for us losing that road game. He did not have a good game.
I heard some interesting takes after that game.
But then after this game, one of the Peacock commentators after the game said, if the tournament was played at PBA, that Nebraska would be the national champions. I think
that is certainly high praise.
I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree with that at all.
That is knowing your audience and giving something they want to hear.
Yeah. I don't agree with it, but
Yeah, Arizona comes in here.
I mean,
Purdue came in here, but has Purdue done anything in the tournament? No.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, Purdue is just a regular season.
That's funny.
team.
I heard, I can't remember there was some other stuff I saw on Twitter from the Peacock broadcast that was just
it's just
interesting.
Yeah.
They said basically correct me if I'm wrong, but they said start figuring out what seed you're going to be. Like you're basically basically saying we're in.
Yeah, acting like this was the game that sealed it for us. It's like
I've been a student at the University of Nebraska Lincoln far too long to believe that.
All right, so that's what I want to go into next. How does this change the outlook of the season? Because for me, it really doesn't change it at all. This is more of what I already know. The only thing it changes for me is that Moss is finally back on track, feeling good about him. He's kind of had some down games, but he's back. But overall, this game doesn't really change much for me. I mean, it was a nice take care of business win, but we got to do it on the road. If we are wanting to secure our bid before the Big Ten tournament, we're going to have to get some of these road wins. Even just 2 would be huge.
I agree with you.
I just don't think we're locked in yet.
The Wisconsin and Illinois games could be you win both of those, I think you're for sure in.
Oh yeah, even just one of them.
You win one and you're pretty solid. You feel pretty solid going into the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
So there's an opportunity for them to get it done without any big road wins, but they got to get some of them done. I agree with you to a point. This was expected, but Ohio State was a similarly ranked team in a lot of metrics.
Yeah, I mean, this game definitely helped.
They were higher in Ken Pom.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Nebraska moved up to, let's see here. I had it pulled up earlier. Moved up to 45 in Ken Pom now.
I look at those rankings too much when I do my bracket, and it screws me. So I'm just haven't been looking at it.
Ohio State. So I think Ohio State was 44 before this game. They dropped to 48 in Ken Pom.
Okay.
Ken Pom's kind of my favorite. I know a lot of people have their qualms with it, but I quite enjoy it.
Yeah.
So 15-5, only 1 loss at home.
Yeah, I guess a good Creighton team.
It's a great resume.
Yeah.
But this is what they were favored. They should have won this game. It would have been a huge disappointment to lose this game.
Definitely.
Even though it was more of a coin flip than I think a lot of people here gave it credit for.
Yeah.
Especially with Gary out and the way Tominaga played. But to me, it showed what this team can do without Tominaga.
Yeah. But again, this is still more of just, I know this is what we can do at home. That's all this game shows for me.
I agree, but I feel like most of the time those big wins at home where the crowd is really engaged into it are because Tominaga is going for 5 threes.
I mean, this was kind of
25 points.
This was the first big win when Tominaga didn't, was basically a non-factor. Yeah. It's been a while. I mean, I agree with that. It does make me feel better that Tominaga doesn't have to do everything, but for the overall standpoint of this team, it's not like I'm move this team above Wisconsin or Illinois, or any of that.
Well, yes. I think they're still, they're in that tier of teams that are good enough to beat anyone, but probably won't.
Yeah.
This win doesn't change that. I just think the way it happened, they're down 9 early. They're struggling from 3. That's been the script this season.
Oh, yeah.
Struggling early, can't hit threes.
Except Rutgers, it was backwards.
Right. We're just going to toss that game. I don't even, that game is craziness. But, down early, can't hit threes, even though they might be, pretty stout defensively, which they were in this game. Very good defensively at most points.
That was good to see also.
There was a lot of times where Ohio State just could not get a bucket up. Ohio State played pretty well defensively too early in down low. They couldn't defend the 3. And I don't know if I blame you when you've got a 6'10" guy, hitting shots from, step back.
Yeah, the
pump
step
fake,
back one. The step back one.
Step back. Jameson Battlego's flying.
Yeah.
Throws it off his back foot.
Mm-hmm.
It's what are we I got to imagine Hoiberg sitting there on the side, what are we doing?
He's just
there's a couple times a game where I see Alec or Mass shoot up a 3. I'm just, you just cringe.
When Alex shoots a 3, I cringe sometimes.
But he made one today.
He did one.
Yeah. I give him credit for that. He's played better as of late.
Yeah,
I was a big critic of him early on in the season.
Yeah.
He's improved. There's times too where Mass will just keep trying, and it doesn't work. Obviously, like tonight it didn't. But like I said, I just feel like a lot of the times at these home environments, when it's so dependent on momentum, that is the Tominaga effect. That is what he brought last season at the end of the stretch. That is not what we saw tonight. And I thought that was the most important. My most important takeaway is that Wilcher can get hot like that. Mass can get hot like that. And we already know other guys can as well. We've seen Hoiberg do it. We've seen Williams go off before. And we know Tominaga, when he's on, will do it. Now, matter of fact, is getting back Gary and seeing what happens there.
My biggest takeaway from this was, yes, I was happy with Mast. Yes, I was not surprised by Wilcher's performance. He's been solid, especially lately. But my biggest takeaway was that we took care of the ball. We had somehow, I didn't even know this when I was watching the game live. It wasn't until I looked at the post-game stats. We turned the ball over 18 times against Northwestern.
That was a really ugly game.
Like the beginning, I guess it was mostly, I think it was first half. With most of those in the first half, because I feel like during the second half, we didn't turn the ball over as much. But maybe that's just in my head.
Just overall just a really ugly, sloppy game, which was a continuation of what we saw in Iowa and Rutgers.
So, I mean, we only had 6 turnovers tonight. I was really pleased with how we
100%.
took care of the ball. Especially when it's, Moss, the one that we keep getting the ball to, usually when you get the ball to your postman a lot, sometimes it can create turnovers if they're double teaming him and he's having to pass it cross court and stuff like that. But yeah, we took care of the ball really well tonight. So I was very pleased with that. But again, it's more just same old for me. Dominate at home, struggle on the road. I haven't looked at this, but I really, after this show, want to go back. I want to look at our 3-point percentage at home and what it's been away. I haven't done that yet, but I guarantee you on the road, we're shooting like high 20s, low 30s, and at home, we're like 40s.
I wouldn't say, I doubt it's 40s, but
no, I bet it's 40s or high 38, like high.
There's been some stinkers in there, but we'll have to look at that.
We're
But
shooting 34 for the season.
yeah, but you got to factor in Wisconsin game on the road where they went off. There's been a couple of road games where they shot nice as well. I mean, it is 100% better at home. I don't think there's any argument about that.
I'm just guessing.
Yeah,
I want to look. I'm definitely going to bring it to tomorrow's show. I'm going to bring that stat. I'm going to do it because I really am interested. Because when we're not at home, the 3-point shot doesn't feel like it falls as much. The Wisconsin game, we shot well, but I feel like outside of that, I feel like it's been pretty rough for us shooting on the road.
Now,
Rutgers was rough. Iowa was rough.
Today, it was 11 for 14 after starting 3 of 13.
Yeah,
that was another big takeaway for me.
Yeah,
was starting slow and getting hot later. I feel like a lot of times this season it has been you're either on fire or you don't have it.
There's been no in between.
And today it was off to one of those bad starts. And then you finish 11 of 14.
Yeah.
For a total of 14 of 27, which I don't love taking 27 threes, but
with this team, I do.
With this team, you do. And on the opposite side, they defended 3 well. Ohio State only shot 8 of 23. You brought up turnovers, and I know we talked a little bit about this pregame.
That was one of my takeaways.
Jamarcus Lawrence didn't have a great night shooting the ball, but I think he did a pretty good job of not turning the ball over. He's good for a few just weird sloppy turnovers every game. And you didn't really see that tonight. He only had 1. So I thought that was commendable from him. And then rebounding. Let's talk about rebounding. 16 second chance points.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Only 2 for Ohio State. It's been a while since we've seen that big of an advantage. They only had 9 offensive rebounds.
Yeah, Ohio State just looked like a little man compared to Moss down low.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly. I mean, Moss was just, especially in that, I feel like the first half, a lot of it was, behind the arc 3, I feel like, or early second half. I feel like at the end of the game, they were just pounding it down low with Moss.
Because at that point, they had adjusted to him, doing the standing at
literally
30 feet
literally
out.
Just doing a pick and going to the 3-point line. Like the simplest thing ever.
He got the matchup he wanted down low. There was 4 straight buckets that he like tough, like just bully ball down low. There was a step back. There was a little tap in that he had. A couple just, backed in his guy and just laid it in. And that was after his little run where he had three straight threes, tried the heat check, missed it, didn't take another one. Thought that was kind of smart. And then they got him going down low to perfection before he checked out and eventually got that rebound. Unbelievable game scripting there at the end, just to go from Wilcher shooting back-to-back threes, Moss hitting 3 straight, and then all of a sudden you just go down low with everything, and Ohio State just didn't have time to adjust. There was not enough time left in the game.
Yeah, I feel like we've kind of gone away from Moss down low a little bit over the past few games, so I really liked seeing Moss. Yeah, I was pleased with how he shot from the three-point line, but towards the end of the game, that was what was the most satisfying for me, was when just every time he was
the three-pointers are going to get the news. Like, that's going to be the headline. Oh, big man shoots 6 of 8, crowd goes wild.
Yeah.
But to see him just back guys down and just...
He was bullied. I always feel like we are the ones that are getting bullied down low. Especially, Rutgers. Really, we got bullied down low by Rutgers. I mean, that was my takeaway from that. Like, really?
Yeah.
Rutgers.
Now, in past years, I was always a big Derek Walker guy just because he did have that bag of tricks where he could just get down low.
When Derek Walker wasn't in, you could tell.
100%. They've boosted the size this season with some guards that have size. But the ability to shoot the three, Walker never had that. That was never an option. And now it is. And it just brings a whole new level to this team where the game scripting on the opposing side is so tough. And like, if you're Ohio State, what can you do? Because you probably scripted all week to face guard Tominaga, like we've seen. That's worked to an effect at some point.
Yeah.
Give him guard him really tight. Don't let him get around those screens. Don't let him whip around the arc and just pull up. And he played 14 minutes. Yeah. I don't think there was any injury. Hoiberg didn't talk anything about injury post game.
I think it was just fouls, then
he just wasn't in a rhythm, and that's fine.
They didn't need him.
They didn't need him.
Mass was just unbelievable.
And he's not great defensively, but Hoiberg came in there and played really solid minutes. 26 from Hoiberg tonight.
Yeah.
But yeah, the rebounding overall was just strong.
Good.
You get 9 offensive rebounds and 16 second chance points.
Yeah.
You're cashing in all your offensive rebounds.
Yeah. We definitely needed a performance like that. I mean, I really want to see, I feel like Ohio State's pretty weak down low. So I want to see us do it against a team that I feel like is really strong down low. But yeah, it was definitely good to see after, just the beating we took against Rutgers.
For sure. Again, like we talked about, does this game actually have that much meaning? No. It's just so refreshing to see headlines being drawn from Nebraska basketball.
Yeah.
Because in my previous 2 years here, it has always been the afterthought. It has always been, if they win, I'll check Twitter. I'll watch maybe a couple clips from the game, and that's it. There is a culture being built here, and there's going to be bumps in the road like we saw at Iowa, like we saw at Rutgers. But the way they've been able to respond every single time they've gotten down with a big win. Like this was Northwestern was a scrappy win that you had to have, and it was nice to see them pull one out. Ohio State was a dominant win outside of those first 9 minutes. From 11 minutes on in the first half, it was dominant. They had everything they wanted. Ohio State could not get anything going. And outside of Thornton, literally, I mean, these guys couldn't get anything rolling. And so I was extremely impressed by this win. And maybe I'm just a prisoner of the moment because I was there in the crowd and feeling the vibes. It got a little handsy at times. Like there was a little fighting down low, and
they were trying to be physical with Mass, but it just didn't work.
It just didn't work overall.
Mass was
so I'm excited for the future. Saturday's got to be the game. You got to get it done at Maryland. 11 a.m. tip though. On the East Coast.
I don't mind.
I don't mind, but for them, he talked about today how they got back from Rutgers at 3 a.m. in the morning, and they had 2 days to turn around for Northwestern, a team that they hadn't beaten so long. So
yeah, I mean, that's why the Northwestern game was so impressive to me.
Yeah.
Way more so than this. Yes, this was a night, like, obviously these games are really fun to watch. But, I mean, then again, it is Ohio State. I'm just not giving enough credit to how good Ohio State is, I feel like. I mean, I know they're not, like, top tier team, but they're a solid team. So, this was a really good win for us. Is it going to be a win that really matters, when we're trying to decide if we're going to get into the tournament? Probably not. A game that's going to be like, hey, they took care of business at home.
If it
keeps the home game, keeps that home record, the 13-1. That is what makes it.
It's a good stat.
Good. Yeah, that stat is probably going to be something that helps us keep playing in March. But I mean, overall, I didn't really learn much from this game. I want to see us do it on the road, and then I will have definitely a different view of this team. We're going to go to break. We would definitely want to hear more of your thoughts. Again, text line 402-464-5685. Also, you can comment on the streams. We're looking at that. So we have one more segment to go, and then we're out of here. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
Hilriola, the doctor, the Polynesian Bowl. He had a lot of throws. He made a couple nice throws. He threw outs. He threw a deep dig. He threw a slant that went to the house. There were so many different passes that we saw him. And he's got a little quick twitch. Is he fast? No. Quick twitch? Yes. It was good to see him moving around. Listen, he connected with, guess who?
Carter Nelson.
Thank you. We got a chance to see Carter twice. It was good for me to watch that because I think that's a precursor of what's.
You never think cancer will happen to you. I smoked for over 40 years. My doctor recommended that I get annual lung cancer screening. They were able to catch my cancer at stage 1. It's never too late to quit. Even if you're still smoking, you need to ask your doctor about annual lung cancer screening. Just 30 minutes a year could save your life.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them?
By their clothes,
their age,
the way they speak.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People Seeding Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Okay, kids, Dad's gonna teach you how to dance. First, spread your feet apart. Then, pump your knee, nod your head, shake your hips, and bite your lip ever so slightly. Now, with one hand in the air, point at people with the other hand. I call that the rock star.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
Now, make a face like it just smells something bad.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. That's doihaveprediabetes.org.
Wait, did they just say 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes? That's 33.33333% of adults. That means it could be me, my boss, or my boss's boss, or me, my favorite sister, or my other sister. That's 7 members of my 21-person romantic book club. Wait, the 1 and 3 could be me, my karaoke partner Carol, or my karaoke enemy Jeff. I'm going to take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its pre-diabetes awareness partners.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to the Daily Nebraskan Show. I'm Ben Droz, joined here still by Joseph Meyer. Hasn't gone to bed yet. We are still up and awake. Probably after the show, I'm going to hit the sack right away.
Yeah, it's got to adjust the bedtime. I'm kind of a not early bird gets the worm type of guy.
I can be if I need to be, but I'm definitely
I'm like a night owl that gets up when he needs to. I think that's
I'm surprised if I fall asleep before midnight anyway. So when I
so
saw a show was going to be 11 to 12, I'm like,
not that big of a deal.
Yeah,
we're college students. We'll be fine.
Yeah. So we kind of want to go a little bit away from men's basketball. That's all we talked about for the first 50 minutes. So we're going to talk a little bit about Chubba Purdy transferring officially from Nebraska. He answered the transfer portal a while ago. He's now officially gone to Nevada, I believe.
Mm-hmm. With the stop at San Jose State on the way.
Yeah.
Which I have a little qualm to pick.
Do it.
If you're a coach, and again, I don't know enough about the situation to really give a great take here. If you're a coach who is knowing that you might take another job if you leave, and I get San Jose State is not a great job, and there's better jobs, and I probably would too. I'm probably, the better job comes calling, I'm probably not sticking around there. But if you know there's a chance you leave, don't recruit players like hard. Like at least I don't know how necessarily you would go about it.
Yeah.
But don't be the guy who
promises he's going to be there.
Be there, brings in Chubba Purdy, and then a week later takes a different job and he's got to leave again. And he not wasted the cycle, but put his eggs in one basket, and that basket crumbled.
I mean, it makes it tougher for these players because, then a lot of teams have already made the decision on their quarterback situation.
100%.
So it definitely makes it tougher for players like Purdy, who, is not an elite level talent at the quarterback position by any stretch of the imagination, but, has some potential.
He played at a Big Ten school. I mean,
yeah,
he probably should have been the starter at a Big Ten school all season.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying Nevada's like a bad job or anything, but it's definitely a downgrade. And I know he wants playing time, and that's totally fine. But to go from Florida State and Nebraska to Nevada is, a serious downgrade. I wish all the luck. I wish the best to him.
Which I'm surprised. I'm surprised he didn't get more looks from other teams.
He doesn't have a lot of tape, to be completely honest. He doesn't have a lot of, he never really has gotten an opportunity, and I feel bad for him.
Which I kind of blame Rule a little bit for that, and Frost.
Yeah. It's hard to know because he had that injury coming off of how healthy he was going to be going into this season. I'm sure down the line, Rule, if once they've had success here and he's willing to admit his mistakes, I don't know whose call that was, but Sims in general was the wrong move. And you had, I think, Purdy already in the locker room, who was a better option. I still think Harburg was a better option than Sims. I think Casey Thompson would have been a better option than Sims. They kind of put all their eggs in his basket, and it didn't work out. If it would have worked out, it would have been genius. But to take a new guy over guys that have already been in the locker room was always an interesting pick.
Yeah.
But I just feel bad for Purdy because it's so close to making it work and just not quite. Like,
yeah, because I mean, even if we just pick up one more win and we make a bowl game, it could be completely different.
If he doesn't throw that pick against Maryland and he beats Wisconsin, I think it's tough to move off him. I mean, you're obviously still bringing in Raiola,
but it definitely could have been like a sit and watch then a little bit for Raiola then maybe.
Yeah.
But then again,
I don't know if Raiola was going to sign up for that though.
Then again, it could be another thing. Well, then Husker fans are going to be mad that we're not playing Raiola. Is this going to be Sims again? Why are we playing a guy that's not the future?
There's totally a world here where Raiola is only coming here if he's guaranteed the job.
I never really saw this as Rules is going to hand it to him.
I don't think Rule's going to hand it to him, but I think Raiola knows he's going to win. That's what I think. I think he knows. He just just seems so mature. And I know it's so early. But like, again, like I was talking about, just chatting with John Cook, like clearly taking in the wisdom that he has to offer as a guy who's been at Nebraska for forever and won championships here.
Yeah.
That's not something you usually see from a freshman in college. And I don't even know that I would be able to sit there and chat and really I'd love to say I could, but just to take in all that wisdom as a guy with that, who could have that big of an ego of like, I'm the next biggest thing
at Nebraska.
So, I mean, I wouldn't blame him if he has an ego. He's gonna be that guy. I just think him and his family realize Nebraska doesn't have that good of an option. Even if Chubba Purdy stays, I don't think he's beating me out. And I think Chubba Purdy probably saw the writing on the wall there, because that did blindside the staff a little bit when Purdy left. Like, he talked in that signing day presser about how we've got new guy in Raiola. We kept Kalen around because we really want to build around him. He's been our guy from day one. Harburg gave us a lot of great minutes, and we're gonna find a way to use him. And Purdy, showed flashes at the end of the last season. And Rule was excited. Then a few days later, Purdy's in the transfer portal.
I mean, I'm not surprised at all by him moving on, just because when it was announced that he was coming here, Husker fans don't want to see anybody but him at quarterback right now.
100%.
They don't want to see Purdy pointing at third at the beginning of the season. They definitely don't want to see Harburg. Last thing they want to see is Sims out there.
I think the schedule forces them as well. You play Colorado week 2. You throw Purdy out there, he throws 3 picks. You throw Harburg or Purdy out there week 2 against Colorado, throws 3 picks, and you could potentially cost yourself a bowl game.
Yeah. I mean, then again, I'm still mad at how the quarterback situation was handled this year, just because it took Sims to have to throw a gazillion interceptions to finally move off of him, and fumbles on top of that. Then Harburg has to have just one of the worst games ever for them to finally move off Harburg and go to Purdy. It's just like,
move off Harburg, go to Sims,
and then
go
Purdy,
to Purdy.
Yeah, and then Purdy. Thank you.
That was the weirdest thing to me, that Purdy
wasn't second.
Yeah, but
even
also that
after
he was
Sims
willing to stick around without being like, he knew he was the third guy going into that season.
He knows the biggest thing is like, man, I'm the third guy in this quarterback room. Like, come on, that's got to sting a little bit. I mean, I'm just saying.
And I still think I'm impressed with a lot of the things he did. That Iowa interception will always haunt him, and that's just so unfortunate. But he gave Nebraska the best chance to win, I think, in those 3 games.
Yeah,
over
definitely.
anyone, to supplement that defense that they had. I will always respect him. I think his time here was
handled it. I think he was mature.
100% handled maturely, and he took it upon himself. He
didn't
was
complain or
he was critical of himself every time in one of those losses, when in reality most of them weren't on him. It was on special teams, or it was on other quarterbacks that played alongside him, or
defense not making
the play
to win the game. They play throughout
letting
the game.
Iowa run all over you. Yeah, like
defense played good, but
yeah, like
didn't play
it's
good
Iowa.
enough.
Like he took his lumps. He sat there for a long time, came in, played okay, and eventually moved on. And props to him. Just so unfortunate with the way his whole trajectory has just been so unfortunate.
Yeah.
And it coincides with his brother going to back-to-back NFC championship games, which
I'm surprised his name doesn't even give him more attention, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like
I
Purdy's
don't
like
know.
Patrick Mahomes
Well,
or anything.
the slander that I've seen in the national media from Purdy, maybe it hurts him. Maybe it hurts him. But yeah, just unfortunate to transfer to school, get so excited about that, go out to San Jose State.
But you got to think, even though Purdy, all the slander, he's got all the talent in the world around him, he's still a professional quarterback that's playing good. I mean, why wouldn't you take a chance on Purdy if you're
that I am not the college scout, so I will not answer that question. But Nevada is taking a chance on him, and Nevada was not good last year. So he's got a chance to really make an impact there and leave his legacy, because he's gotten the bad end of the stick at pretty much every step of the way.
Yeah.
Struggled last season when Thompson went down, and then he gets hurt against Michigan when in a game that Nebraska was never going to win against Michigan in that game.
No.
Gets hurt, misses a lot of time over the offseason, isn't ready to start at the beginning, which probably hurt his chances to get in the game at all. Finally gets in, throws 2 very memorable picks that he's going to be remembered for. It's just the unfortunate truth. Helped himself out with those 2 big plays at Wisconsin, but
Yeah.
that's kind of his legacy here, and it's unfortunate. I wish him all the best at Nevada, though.
I know it's very different, but it kind of makes me reminisce also about Luke McCaffrey. Doesn't it I mean, I know it's very different situations, but still, it's like a guy, you have the brother of a guy that's in the NFL, both of them, and both of them, it's like, we hype them up. They're supposed to be this big thing. You know, wasn't Trevor Purdy a 4-star or was 3?
He was a 4-star.
He was
I mean,
4.
it depends on the site you look at, but
I guess, yeah, but still,
he
like,
had
not a
played long enough at Florida State where we knew he wasn't a 4-star.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, but still, like, you know, guys that, you know, you could see that some potential there, and neither one of them just really worked out.
Yeah, it didn't work out. Just unfortunate. Luke McCaffrey had a heck of a season, though.
Yeah.
He is. That's one of the things Scott Frost did well was want to trade him to wide receiver. That's a whole another story, but
Maybe Thursday. Maybe tomorrow
Thursday. We'll do a whole episode on Luke McCaffrey.
Yes, we're going to do an in-depth analysis. What went wrong with McCaffrey? Why did we not switch him to wide receiver?
Rule loves the McCaffrey family.
If we would have had McCaffrey with Rule, I honestly feel like he probably would have got wide receiver.
Oh, my goodness.
You know how much Rule likes doing the trick plays. Osborne told him to do it. He's doing it. But that's going to wrap up our show. Thanks for tuning in. A little bit of post-game. Got some football talk in the end. It was a good show.
Absolutely.
Everyone, have a good rest of your night. We are out of here.
Peace.
Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
I see the future in our public school classrooms every day. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. I also see how critically important parent and community support is to our students' success. Support your public schools. Get involved. Form a business-school partnership or become a school volunteer. Great schools and great communities work hand